Government Degree College Mantani, Pedagogy, Pillar and the Lecture in English is going to discuss about letter writing part for the second year students. Letter writing is a powerful communication in olden days, but right now, people they are not concentrating on, they are not showing their interest towards the letter writing. Letter writing means it's a uh, powerful communication. Normally, for communication tools, we can say that in olden days there is no communication between like this. Nowadays, we have electronic communication and other communications about email, e-corresponding, and now we can see that so many the development of the globalization and the impact of the internet and effect of the internet result is like we have seen so many apps are developed for communicating and most probably in olden days there is only one powerful communication is that only letter writing. So writing letter is having the main objectives. uh, Nowadays also it can has its importance role, playing on its importance role between the teachers and students and between the employers and employee, and for applying for a job or writing a letter in a common way. There are so many objectives are represented with the letter writing, and it can be also it can be treated as a also powerful communication tool to teach students to read letters or letter requests carefully before they responding. It means try to respond seriously about and carefully about the letters. Why? Because letter writing is not a joke, and uh, now we have been observing there are so many letters that we can be made some fun about the English language. That means they are not able to write letters properly because of writing proper way, because of the lack of their communication and the lack of the language speaking skills and the ability of writing skills. So whatever may be, we have been observing so many fun situations about this letter writing part. So what it may be, just to try to understand how we are going to understand, carefully observe to teach the students read letters or write letters requests carefully before responding. To teach students importance of the creating formal and informal documents. Formal and informal documents means, as we all know that there are two kinds of letters that we have been observed in English language. They are personal letters and official letters. Personal letters means the letters which we are able to write for the friends and relatives and all that. Official letters, it's all for the business communication, and most of the business communication letters are represented with official letters. To teach students basic letter format and letter writing strategies is for the main objective of this slideshow and YouTube lesson also. To teach students letter writing etiquette. Etiquette means it's a word related to the communication, and as I already told you that a powerful communication in olden days is only a letter. So maybe it can be reached for so many days. It can be reached for so many whatever it may be. That's a different task. But here we have to observe it as a powerful communication tool. What is the letter? Just before going to look about the details, objectives of the letter writing part, just we have to try and understand what is the definition of the letter. A written is a printed communication directed to a person or organization. A letter is a written or printed communication sent to the person or to the organizations. Letter may be created and sent as. They can be sent. Letter may be created means letter may be drafted, and drafting letter is also one of the a great skill in English. That means, as we all know that spoken language and written language is different. That means, to be say frankly, it's all totally different. Why? Because when we want to learn about the language, we have to follow some rules and the rules of the grammar, and that's enough for learning a student. And most probably, while we are speaking, while we are looking about the written part of the language, try to understand the importance of the writing skills, because if in written language we have to follow strictly grammatical rules, and then maybe no exemption for that. For suppose for example, if you can see that a sentence, if you can see a sentence like Ramu is a good boy. Ramu is a good boy. It's sentence without having any grammatical mistake. So we can easily read it and we can easily understand it, because Ramu is a good boy. Ramu, it shows the quality of a Ramu. So what it may be. Then when we try to change about the spoken language, English, Ramu, good boy. Ramu, a good boy. Ramu, a good boy is also, it is also understandable by this listener. Why? Why? Because there is no grammatical rule. Means here we are not followed the grammar. That means is, which is a verb form, is not followed here. Ramu, good boy. It can be also understood by the listener because of it's a communication. Communication doesn't follow grammatical rules, but in written form, we have to strictly follow the grammatical rules and structure of the rules, and most probably, we have to follow the tenses in the English language. So, how can we create a letter? Means we can create the letters with our own handwriting, and we can create letters with drafting or directing. It's printed, and it can be sent with emails or electronical transmissions, including the fax machines and pagers. In olden days, we have seen a pager also, that can be also represented as a good communication tool. But what it may be, later on, fax is introduced. Then later on, we can see that now we are doing all the correspondence with emails only, electronical transmissions only, and hand to deliver the transmissions, and the regular mails to the transmissions. These are the ways of the transmissions for the letter writing. And letter writing etiquette is a good manner or appropriate, appreciated by social practice that reflects the promote civility. And etiquette is a good man. Etiquette means it's a communication. Etiquette means it's a communication that can be represented through letter. And nowadays, we have been observing, that means we have seen there is a great communication between Indira Gandhi and Nehru. Nehru and Indira Gandhi. Nehru was put in jail in freedom struggle, and Indira Gandhi, she developed herself around the society, and how to behave in a society, and how to take an example, how to impart in the social, how to impart in independence era, and it's all how to fight against the Britishers. It's all what she learned from the letters of Jawaharlal Nehru only, and it can be said that it's a powerful communication tool in olden days. And etiquette is a good manner or appropriate or acceptable social practices that reflects and promotes civility of our civility. Our civility has been promoted more adequate manner of the letter writing. And when should we write a letter? And if we need any necessary, if we need to send any information transfer, and that can be necessary for the writing letter. And to thank someone who has been gracious and kind, helpful to you. That means when should we write a letter? We write a letter to thank someone, and for the gracious, for the thing that he has done. He has done something good for you, that can be represented with a helpful manner. We have to show in letter writing. And when we need assistance or answers to help make intelligent decisions. And while we are making intelligent decisions, we have to take some suggestions from the experts, some suggestions experts, or we need some assistance from the expert, that we can write a letter to the experts, and we can take the help, and we can take help in intelligent decisions. And to respond a letter or to a request that have recently received, do not wait too long. That means almost all, if we receive a letter from anyone else, and if we have to respond through with another letter, and we should not waste any time for too long, because we have to respond as we received a letter from the uh, represents. Just we have to respond with quickly, because of it is necessary to respond for a letter, and to create legal documents that recorded information or support the claims. Supporting of the claims for claim aid is if they really need any important documents that should be recorded for the information, that can be represented with letter writing, to show that you are courteous and professional details oriented persons, you who is aware of etiquette. So in most of the business letters, we are able to write it properly in a way to show our courteous and professionalism, and details of oriented persons who are definitely aware of the knowing the letter writing importance. Then, why will letter writing is matters? Is it really a serious matter to write a letter? Means a writer writing away can always fix himself up to make himself more presentable, but a man who has written a letter is stuck with it for all time. So man can change the decisions. Man who says that, who promises he may change the decisions. Like E.B. White explains, a writer writing away can always fix himself up to make himself more presentable, but a man who has written a letter is stuck with it all the time. That means, if we have seen a man who always wanted to speak something, that God's promise, he can't do anything about it. But means by the word of mouth, he can lie. But in a matter of what we can say, that black and white, if you take anything from him as in black and white, he cannot be. That means he cannot be changed, and his motivation, and he is not able to move forward for any other thing else. A writer writing away can always fix himself up to make himself more presentable. But a man who has written a letter is stuck with it. That means writing in written form or in a writing letter, they can stand by their own words. That's what we have to believe why letters are so important. And therefore, letters should be truthful, as they may become the permanent and record of what you know or think or feel at the time you are writing letter. And don't try to lie. Don't try to say any falsehoods in the letters, because it should be a record of the permanent. It should be a record that should be kept with a permanent. So the letter should be truthful, and we should not lie in the letters, as they may become the permanent record. And students, you should try to believe that you should always keep your promises, and try to keep it up. And if you give anything in a black and white, it shall be definitely represented, and you have to follow, and you have to stand up with these points. And letters has become, as you know, that it could be a permanent record. You know that think, feel, and at the time you are writing letters, you have to think, feel, and writing letters, you have to think that it is a permanent record, and you can't lie, and you can't do anything easily. Letters have become back and haunt many people. Letters have become back to haunt many people. Many people simply they are stick over to the letters, and they are leaving for only letters. In olden days, it's a powerful communication, and it can be simple. It can be represented as a powerful communication, and harmed by so many people. Letters reflect the characters and communication skills in the letter writing of the writer. Letter writing, if you see the letters most probably they can represent the real character of a human being, and whatever maybe if it is this communication skills, but if it is a communication skill, but even we can represent the realistic character of the person who is going to write. Just if we can observe the Jawaharlal Nehru's letters, we can observe how he is strong enough to write letters, and how he is strong enough to make letters to make made powerful about his daughter. Next, we'll go to before writing a letter, read. Before going to write a letter, read one. The letter or letters to which you need or you want to respond, which you need or you want to respond. That means try to understand the letter or letters which you need or want to respond. That means if you really need anything, and they have to be respond, and they have to be write letters. And read or a written announcement or article motivating or requesting a letter response. Read a letter, read a written announcement, and or article motivating or requesting a letter in response, like news stories, displays, and billiards, and other things like even oral comments and others have been voice copied, may spark your less passion to write a letter, listening, or there is more important to write letters. There is more important to write letters, and examine the tone. That means the language of the letter. Language, examining the language of the letter is most important thing. Like announcement and or the other printed materials to which you will be represent the tone. The motivating piece helps you to determine the tone of your written response, formal or informal. Whether you are showing it a formal or informal way of letter writing, that can be easily understood.